Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Thursday evening to you all. Hope you guys are doing well out there and having a great ending to your day. We're almost to the end of the week, almost to the weekend, so we're all thankful for that. Of course, unless you work on the weekends, which I know some folks do. But regardless, hope you're doing well out there, and I appreciate you folks joining me. I shouldn't keep you that long in this video. Of course, I say that a lot, and the video ends up dragging on for 15, 20 minutes, but we'll try to get you out of here quickly, and I just noticed my other cat is in here, so I'm just going to keep rolling. Typically, I'll stop the video there and get the cat out of here, but I'll keep old Kylo in here as he roams about. So if you see a cat jump on the bed behind me, that is Kylo. That's the black cat, not the gray one. So regardless, let's keep it rolling. We're going to talk a little bit of weather tonight. We'll try to figure out the severe weather events over the next several hours. We have some strong to severe thunderstorms in Texas right now in different areas of Texas, some in the southern portion of the state, some in the northern, and these will probably continue throughout the overnight hours. Not expecting a big tornado threat, but the tornado threat dropped about mid-morning and then went back up, but it changed geographical locations. So it's kind of interesting. Very, very small area in southern Oklahoma and northern Texas where you have a 5% risk of a tornado, where the low-level jet could ramp up into the evening hours. It will ramp up and maybe increase the tornado threat with some of these storms that are ongoing right now. So we'll give you a brief update on that. We'll talk about tomorrow, and then we'll even go a little bit past tomorrow. And then stay tuned for tomorrow morning. We'll kind of give you an update on what's going to happen weather-wise for the weekend into early next week. And then I want to mention that I will not have a video tomorrow night. Me and my wife's going on a nice date night and going to enjoy some time together, and really looking forward to that. So just want to let you guys know ahead of time. Also want to mention, been thinking, and I'll try to say this really quickly, been thinking over the last several days, went storm chasing Sunday, and I haven't got to do a lot of storm chasing here locally. And I tested out the live stream. It was a little shaky, but a lot of you folks said it wasn't that bad. So, I just been kind of looking at other people's live stream, like Reed Timmer and many others that stream, and just kind of comparing my shakiness to theirs. And, mine's a little bit worse than your average one that does it, but wasn't that bad. But what I'm trying to say is, I am going to test the waters a lot over the next couple months because I do love storm chasing. That's a huge passion of mine. I love talking weather, but I can tell you I enjoy chasing it more. So I'm going to test some waters here locally in South Carolina. We get some big time summer thunderstorms. So if you see me go live out of nowhere, it's probably because I'm testing my live and just seeing how good it is. And I want to be ready for hurricane season if we have any hurricanes or anything like that when I chase those. And I just want to have the setup ready by the time we get to the end of summer. See what I need to buy, what I need to invest in, what car I need to drive. Hopefully I can make the Mazda work because I really don't want to drive my newer Corolla into some of these storms. But we're going to see. So I'm going to test the waters. Your feedback certainly is appreciated. Definitely let me know what you think. And don't be surprised if all of a sudden you get a notification and it says Mitch West weather is going live and it's storm chasing. So it's probably not because I'm storm chasing a big event. It could just be a thunderstorm 10 miles down the road from my house, but just we'll be testing the water. So with that being said, if you guys have not subscribed, certainly consider doing that. Like the video if you like, and if you guys got anything that I can pray about or pray over, as always, you know the deal. Please put it in the comments below so I can pray over it and so others can do so too. Well, look at the satellite visibility out there. We got some thunderstorms popping up. Already have popped up in areas of Texas right in this region. You got also some moisture in this region too here, but you got a couple big storms just north of the Del Rio area in Texas. And really what you got going on, and we've already talked about it a lot, but we'll mention it again. You got this spin that's having a hard time moving just due to lack of flow, and it's kind of gotten cut off in the main flow of things. But this has acted to aid in a southwest flow in general over this region. So what happens is you get little impulses of energy that kind of flies down from the southwest to the northeast, and they can be weak pulses of energy. They call them shortwave troughs, or I just call them pieces of energy. And sometimes you'll have a surface low associated with it. This helps pull in the dynamics, obviously south and southeast of the low, and you are going to have the chances for rounds of thunderstorms, whether it's very severe due to a stronger low or just weaker. A lot of this is lingering outflows. What kind of conditions are still left over from the day before? Things like that. And as this spin begins to shift somewhat to the east, ridging will shift somewhat to the east, and then you will have it. You will begin to get a steady warm up into this region, especially as you get into next week. So we'll see what happens. We're going to talk about multiple things, though. We're going to also talk about the severe weather ongoing for maybe there might be a severe weather threat for Sunday. We'll talk about that too, but not in much detail because we don't have a lot of details right now. But let's go on and get this off and keep rolling. Right now, you do have the severe risk, the level 2 out of 5, and this goes up to southern and southwest Oklahoma. So still got the slight risk all the way till tomorrow morning. The tornado threat, you got the 5% risk, very small area. This does include Wichita Falls and any other kind of smaller towns and communities in this region. So really what's happening is if you look at the radar right now of this area, you see this storm just south and southwest of Wichita Falls is beginning to get that look. So watch out, Archer City. Of course, by the time some of you watch this will be already through. But, you look at the velocity scan right here with this, and it's beginning to show some broad rotation in this area. And the reason being is because the low-level jet is increasing in this region. So that's why you do have a bit of the higher tornado threat in this region. So you got to watch these storms over the next couple hours, really now, and then over the next couple of hours in this region. There's a few storm chasers, really known storm chasers in this region. So if they do produce, we'll definitely know. So you got that tornado risk that's ongoing. So please be careful over the next few hours for sure. Tomorrow, you have a risk of severe thunderstorms in 3 different areas. One up here in Nebraska, one over here in the deep south into the mid-south regions, and then one in Texas again. We're going to talk about each region. Really right now, the highest tornado threat, which you really wouldn't call this high, but is right here from Dallas, southwest to Waco to Austin, and basically the heart of Texas right in here. Wind threat, you got that. The highest threat is also in this one little slight risk, 15% risk of winds pushing 50 knots or higher. Hail threat, I do think we're going to have one or two big time hailstorms tomorrow in kind of east central Texas, and we'll certainly watch out for that. I definitely think we could have hail pushing 2-inch diameter or larger, and that's why you have. That's not the reason why, because I think it, but you get what I'm saying. You do have a hatched risk, a 10% risk of significant hail, which is in hail in excess of 2-inch in diameter or larger, and then just the 15% risk is 1-inch diameter or larger. So we take a look at Texas on what could happen kind of the rest of the night. We'll kind of back this up here. These lingering storms will continue throughout the overnight hours, and we'll drift for I know I got a couple viewers. I know Mary, who watches my videos almost every single day. Watch out for some nasty weather into that late evening, overnight hours. This will move in from your west, like most weather does. And you'll definitely have some active weather in southeast Oklahoma, northeast Texas as we are getting into the overnight hours. I would say it'll be the worst in and around the midnight time frame and a couple hours after. And really, we'll watch this piece of energy that continues to cruise on through southern Arkansas into northern Louisiana into the wee hours of the morning. It's 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. This begins to lose some steam, and then we get into the next day, and that is what we'll show. And just a closer look here, and let me make sure we got this right here. But we get into the next time frame, all right? So let's talk about, and this is for tomorrow. So this is for this risk for tomorrow. Let's talk about Texas first. So what we do know is here's the lingering moisture I just mentioned on the last frame. This will move out the picture, and then we get, this is around 7 a.m. Central Time. No rain really in Texas. Nothing going on. It's 3, 4, 5 p.m. Then here's a couple little isolated cells here in northern Texas. Watch out for these storms right around the Red River area, north of Dallas-Fort Worth region, 7, 8 p.m. But bang, you get to about 7, 8, 9 p.m. Big thunderstorm fires up here. Weatherford area, just west of the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I'm not saying that's exactly where it'll fire up, but immediately a big-time storm fires up here. This one could produce some large hail. But this storm could very well be down here. It could be over here. It could be over here. It could be further down here. Not sure exactly where it's going to be, but one or two of these storms will fire tomorrow. Could be just one, and it could be discreet, could be dangerous. All right, and then it weakens by the time you get to midnight until about nothing. Okay, We'll look at the deep south for tomorrow. The lingering moisture will move into the area overnight tonight, and we'll start off around 7 a.m. You'll have some storms here in southwest Mississippi, areas of eastern Louisiana. And what happens here is the lingering moisture will kind of weaken, supposedly. We'll see what happens, what the HRR model shows. The moisture, the leftover energy from overnight and right now will actually weaken, get into Alabama. You'll probably have some shower activity in central to northern Alabama, moving into western Georgia as we get into the afternoon hours. I don't expect this to refire. And then what happens here is the atmosphere will recover here in the late morning hours, early afternoon hours, and we'll certainly watch for a cluster of storms. It could be more so over here, it could be more back here, or it could be where it's saying it's going to be, which is right in this region of northern Louisiana and southern Arkansas. And we'll see how much these storms come together. But, could be a stormy afternoon for the Jackson area, points south. And we'll see if these strengthen, as you will definitely have some ingredients in this region for some severe weather, some really good low-level moisture. Some Cape levels will be pretty high that will support some fuel for these storms for sure. So we'll keep this in motion right here, and this will probably drift all the way to the Gulf of Mexico. And these storms could get quite intense. I would not be surprised if they put a slight risk of severe storms down here in southern Mississippi, maybe even areas of Louisiana. But you get into the late afternoon, the evening hours around dinner time, 6, 7, 8 p.m. Watch out Baton Rouge area all the way to the Gulfport area. And these eventually could drift into the New Orleans area. And what's going on is, if you're wondering about the flow and why these kind of shift directions like this and kind of move in from the west and then they kind of drift southeast, it's because it's beginning to ride these upper ridges. And we'll talk more on that as we get in the summer, where these upper ridge kind of setups build, and the storms, we call them ridge riders. They literally ride the upper portion of the ridge and float around them. It's pretty wild. It's a flow, and we had a couple setups like that for a few days in a row last summer, and I learned a lot off of them. It was very interesting, but the storms were very intense, and we had very warm, hot weather, record-breaking hot weather in June. I think it happened in June, and we had some crazy storms that were just firing off out there. But anyways, pretty wild stuff. So these are kind of riding a ridge that is beginning to develop. Talk about Nebraska really quick. Really, as we get into, I would say tomorrow, late afternoon into the evening hours, some elevated storms could fire up in western Nebraska, fly across the entire state, even get into southern sections of South Dakota. Gusty winds, hail is possible. Not really expecting a tornado threat with these, but don't be surprised with some storms that'll fly through areas in Nebraska, South Dakota throughout the evening hours and the overnight hours tomorrow. Not expecting a big threat with this. The ingredients going into these, you're going to have a huge moist pool of air, dew points rising well into the 70s, even as we get into the afternoon hours, all the way up into southern Oklahoma. Dew points rising into the 70s, very moist air in Texas, but you look at the dry air really close by. I mean, you go from typical dry line kind of setup in Texas, you go from bone dry desert-like air to like a tropical air mass in about an hour's time, and a lot of moisture down here. And I'm showing you this just because you can tell there's a lot of fuel to the atmosphere. When you have dew points that are this high, you're going to have some high Cape levels, and you're probably going to have some surface temperatures are rising into the 70s and 80s in this region. So your thermodynamics will be supportive for severe weather. But your kinematics, which is what kind of flow aloft do you have? Flow as in winds, whether it's spinning, whether they're just speed, it's going to be weak. We get into tomorrow, this is tomorrow afternoon. And I mean, right where you have that big time storm that kind of begins to fire up tomorrow in Texas, you don't have a widespread supportive low level jet for any kind of tornado threat. Yeah, this big storm develops and kind of develops its own winds aloft, but not really a whole lot going on. And same thing with these storms that'll be ongoing in Louisiana and somewhere in the deep south tomorrow. No favorable winds aloft for a tornado threat. So that's the good news. We move into Saturday. We will have a severe thunderstorm threat. I could see this increasing for the Midwest, but as of now, just 2 areas of a marginal risk. So not a whole lot to talk on with that right now. Sunday, which is day 4 I could see there being a severe weather episode somewhere in the Midwest, maybe even the Mississippi Valley, somewhere maybe, I don't know, somewhere in this region right in here, give or take a state. So we'll talk more on that when we know. I don't want to dive too much into that yet because confidence is low. And then, of course, going forward after this period, there is some time frames to watch, but there's certainly some disagreement with the global models, that's for sure. So that's all I got, guys. Thank y'all for tuning in. God bless all y'all. Stay safe in Texas and Oklahoma tonight, and be with you in the morning. God bless.